All right, hello there, welcome back to another wee bit different video. Am I recording my audio? Okay, I am. Today's video, we're gonna be, I guess, talking about the aftermath of the NBA lottery. I mean, I in all honesty, was looking forward to it, obviously, just like everyone else, because of the thought of Victor Wembanyama playing for one of Detroit, Houston, San Antonio, Charlotte, more than likely. And then Portland, Orlando, Indiana, Washington, etc. for those teams that maybe got super lucky. But as the order was going, so I'm sure you guys have kept up with what's going on. But again, I want to get into detail about a little bit of the stuff. So 14, we got New Orleans, 13, Toronto, 12, Oklahoma City, 11, Orlando. They got that from the Vucevic trade. So yeah, Orlando, shout out to them. getting 2 picks in the top 11. That's really awesome. Dallas 10. So Dallas desperately needing to maintain that pick. Had Chicago, Oklahoma, Toronto, or New Orleans jumped, Dallas would have lost their pick. So Dallas, definitely a sigh of relief. Even though the chances were small, you never want to get skipped, because then the whole thing with Kyrie and Luka, it's not nice having that extra asset of saying, hey, we got a 10 pick in the draft. Utah being 9, Washington 8, Indiana 7, Orlando 6. And this is where I fucking feel for the Pistons fans. Oh god, I'm so sorry, guys. Like, y'all had the worst record in the fucking league, and you got the 5th pick. I mean, shit, dude. I mean, it really goes to show. So one thing I guess I should have pulled up earlier was on Reddit, seeing some of the people's reactions. There was a lot of things to say, obviously, because, people's favorite teams getting screwed over, specifically the Pistons. Okay, we're back. Just a couple of quick reactions from people and their fan bases. You look at the Pistons. Someone here commented, I watched the Pistons win 17 games for the 5th pick. On the bright news, okay, you got Kate Cunningham coming back. You still got to develop guys like Jalen Duren, even James Wiseman, who was a top 2 pick not that long ago. Or sorry, he was the 2nd pick. Yeah, I'm tripping. Then, we just keep going down the rabbit hole of comments. I don't know if you can get to that. Fuck, now Pop will be a thorn in our sides for another decade. I mean, one thing to talk about as well, Popovich, obviously having to coach a guy like Tim Duncan, doing amazing things, and then winning 5 championships with him. I believe he won 5 championships with Tim Duncan. Also having to coach Kawhi Leonard, by the way, and guys like Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. But now you have arguably the greatest prospect, I would say the 2nd greatest prospect of all time, just behind LeBron James. I'm not saying hype, right? Because since Victor Wembanyama, from France, didn't get the same media attention as Zion, because Zion was playing at Duke, right? Because Zion's hype was insane. But in terms of just NBA scouts talking about these players in a specific manner, like Victor Wembanyama is probably, again, the 2nd greatest prospect of all time. So for the Spurs to be able to get him in their lap, that's pretty fucking wild. And Popovich obviously being arguably the greatest coach of all time, head coach of all time, you have to think that this is going to extend his stay with San Antonio. Spurs have been 12th or worse in the West 3 out of 60 years. Those 3 years, Robinson, Duncan, and Wemby. That's so crazy, dude. That's absolutely wild. David Robinson in 1987, Tim Duncan in 1997, and now Wemby in 2023. It's definitely crazy, that's for sure. I mean, last year, Paolo wasn't even guaranteed to be the number 1 pick. Everyone thought maybe Jabari Smith or Chet Holmgren. But Paolo, I believe it was hours before the draft where Woj tweeted, hey, Paolo's going number 1. And so last year was very uncertain, but this year the whole year, everyone has known it's Wemby. Like Wemby's going first. Let's see. Anything else? Wow, what a result. Yeah, I mean, everyone's just going to talk about that. And obviously, you definitely want to talk about Wembanyama. But let's pull up a mock draft real quick. And here's a player I want to talk about that isn't getting talked about enough, in my opinion. I think Charlotte has a great option at number 2 moving forward. But here we go. Let's pull this mock draft, please. Can we get into the picks already? Athletic. Okay, obviously, again, Wembanyama number 1. This guy right here, Scoot Henderson, he actually just announced a business partnership and a mentorship with Stephen Curry. So he's going to be getting taught by Steph Curry himself in the business side of things and in basketball. So that's really badass. But Scoot Henderson, if y'all haven't seen any highlights of him, I'll probably like show some highlights throughout, this video and stuff. But with that being said, Scoot Henderson is an absolute athletic monster, someone who is able to get to the rim, someone who is able to really just brighten the floor with his stardom and how flashy he can be. And again, he just jumps out the camera. He just jumps out every play. Like, he stands out. He is a standout guard. Definitely got some nice handles. But again, you really can't talk enough about his athleticism. That is what makes him so great, in my opinion, being able to get so high. It's also another thing that he's physical more than your average 6'2" guard. Like, he really can get into contact. He can really do some nasty posters. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. If Scoot Henderson, you put him with LaMelo Ball, I think you got one of the best future backcourts in the NBA. When I say future, I mean not out the gate they're going to be the best backcourt, but moving forward, you have to imagine that they're going to be top 5 in years to come, maybe even top 3, hell, maybe even the best. That's how good Scoot Henderson is. I think if Scoot Henderson was in last year's draft, this guy might be number 1. Now, with that being said, Brandon Miller is someone who's been coming up in the past couple months, who people have talked about a lot. And if I'm being 100% blunt here, I'm not really familiar with Brandon Miller. The 2 players I was really familiar with was Scoot Henderson and obviously Victor Wembanyama, because Scoot was in G League Ignite and I caught a couple of those games, and Victor Wembanyama actually ended up playing Scoot in one of those games, so that was really cool. But I've never really followed college basketball all too much, so Brandon Miller apparently is really making a splash with NBA scouts and NBA front offices. And one thing I will say that I hope doesn't happen again this year is teams drafting for position need over just the best player available to take when it comes to the top 5, right? When it comes to top 5, you should just draft the best player. You look at the Warriors, for example, they took James Wiseman because they needed a center, even though they might have thought that LaMelo was the better player. You don't draft for fit in the top 5, you draft for who is the best player. In my opinion, I think Scoot is the clear cut too. Granted, I can't stress enough, Brandon Miller is clearly an option, right? He is not someone that could easily, what's the words I'm looking for here? He is not someone to sleep on for that number 2 pick. That's how I'm trying to phrase that. But anyway, definitely excited. And hold up, who is the pick for the Pistons on a mock draft, right? You got Amen Thompson to the Rockets, 6'7" lead guard. He is from the G League as well, Overtime Elite. Yeah, he's one of the Thompson twins. I believe the Thompson twins were interviewed before the lottery. Cam Whitmore. So instead of someone like Wembanyama or Scoot Henderson, because what does Pistons look like? Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren. They obviously traded Sadiq Bey. They still have Killian Hayes. They still have Bogdan Bogdanovic. They got Isaiah Stewart. I'm missing one key name here. I'm definitely, hold on, let me look that up. I'm missing a key name for the Pistons. Oh, Jaden Ivey. I knew I was missing someone. I'm like, bro, I'm missing someone really important. Yeah, Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, James Wiseman, Killian Hayes, Jalen Duren, like Marvin Bagley too, actually. Yeah, Marvin Bagley is a lot better than people think. I think people just totally wrote him off after his stint with the Kings, but he showed some flashes, right? He doesn't need to be a superstar, especially for this Pistons team. They just want to develop stars for the future, and if he can just be someone that's starter worthy, I think the Pistons would be really happy with that, especially since they're building with Cade Cunningham, of course Jaden Ivey, working on James Wiseman, Jalen Duren still being an absolute force on the offensive rebounds. So adding a guy like Cam Whitmore, who I'm vaguely familiar with. I have seen a couple of highlight tapes on him. And by highlight tapes, I mean you just go to YouTube and look up highlights. So nothing more to that. Okay, going into SB Nation, Scoot is also going number 2. Amen Thompson's going number 3. You know, it's so weird because Woj before the draft said Brandon Miller is going top 3. Or he could easily go 2 is what I'm saying. My bad. He could easily go 2. Cam Whitmore. So, I mean, it's Cam Whitmore. This is the second mock I've seen him go number 5. Taylor Hendricks. This is the second mock I've seen him go 6. Top 10. So hold up. Anthony Black guard mock for the Mavs. If 6'7" guard for defense, oh man, there's just so much that could happen. I probably will do a video deep diving into a lot of these guys. I had heard of Derek Whitehead, Jet Howard, Nick Smith, Chris Murray. Chris Murray is the brother of Keegan Murray. Yeah, okay, I know about him. That's crazy. Damn, they haven't projected going to the Lakers. That's wild. Okay, well, anyway, whole lot of excitement coming from Spurs fans. Whole lot of disappointment coming from Pistons fans. I think Charlotte fans are stoked. I think Blazers fans are beyond stoked. Rockets fans aren't necessarily stoked, but they're not necessarily disappointed. I don't know, because the 4th pick, I mean, it's not ideal considering you could have gotten the same odds as, you know, San Antonio and Detroit. I mean, yeah, top 3 though, they're the happiest without question. But that's that. A lot of people feeling the type of way. Can't blame them. But appreciate you guys for watching. As always, this is Ollie Been Different. We've been different. And we out.